Hello everybody, Miss Trent here, and in today's video I am going to be doing a Call of Duty Zombies tier list. As you guys may have noticed, I have done a full reset of the channel. I've kind of been streaming random games, Call of Duty, Overwatch, Zombies, always as always. Um, but I've kind of decided to focus on zombies as the premise for my channel, at least for the time being. And I wanted to start it off this way. I wanted to see what Mr. T Lexify's opinion would be on my list, whether he would say it was certified or not. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start this in the order they are at the bottom, starting with Der Eisendrache, or Draka, however you want to say it. Alright, listen. Der Eisendrache, I have a controversial opinion about Der Eisendrache. I'm going to have to give it B tier. I can't put it any higher than B tier. And the reason that I'm going to have to put Der Eisendrache, what most people would consider low, is that it didn't do too much that was original, I would say. The bows were just the origin staffs. It had the dragon heads, which were the heads from, or the dog heads from Mob of the Dead. Um, to you could say not the Gersh. You could say the specialist weapon in Der Eisendrache wasn't just reskinned gravity spikes because of its feature to where you could set it down on the ground, but I mean that's really all it's bringing to the table for me, at least. Der Eisendrache is still a very good map, don't get me wrong. It is very enjoyable. The Easter egg is to this day one of the best, which is why I felt I couldn't put it lower than C tier. It really did pave the way for how boss fights were going to be playing out in the Call of Duty franchise, and it is honestly one of the best, if not the best. I wouldn't put it as the best boss fight that we have seen in all of Call of Duty Zombies, but in terms of Treyarch Zombies, um, definitely up there for sure. Next up on the list, we have Gorod Krovi. Ooh, Gorod Krovi really is. I can't give it the S tier. I think I'm gonna have to give it the A tier. This whole map leading up to it, if you were in the zombies community, was so incredibly hyped. I mean, I think leading up to this coming out, we had Mr. T Lexify, Raffle Waffles, Dalek JD, all of the big names being invited to Treyarch Studios to react to the intro scene. And I think around that time is when we were starting to get the Dr. Monty teasers and things like that, and it was all just, this was like the, I don't want to say the calm before the storm, but like this I would say was the climax of Black Ops 3 Zombies. Um, Besides potentially Zombies Chronicles definitely revived the zombies community when it was in its little hiatus after BO3. But to be fair, BO3 held its player base very, very well leading up to the fabled 5th DLC. But Gorod Krovi, I feel like, doesn't get enough credit in regards to the impact in general around the community during the time this map was released. And then when it was finally released, I personally was tuned into Mr. T Lexify's stream the whole time. I mean, the hype around it. And when you're in a Mr. T Lexify stream, it's a good time. But we're going to get to the next map, which is Transit. Ooh, okay, so I'm gonna have. Ooh, you see, it's Transit is not nearly as good as Darius and Jaka, but I don't know. I don't know if I can give it C tier. Transit, if you are a fan of going for high rounds, which I am. I'm a big fan of going for high rounds on zombies. Transit is a very fun map to go on high rounds for. It really is. I don't know what it is about Transit that is fun on high rounds, but another thing with Transit, it is very fun to play for players on Transit. I had really gone back and revisited it about 2 years ago, where I was really like, okay, I am, you know, 6 games deep with my squad, and I'm genuinely having fun with this map. I don't. Sorry, I'm gonna fix this real quick, guys. My bad, my bad, my bad. I'll figure out cutting this out. Sorry about that. Had to plug my camera in. It was about to die. But Transit, it was a very good revisiting, I would have to say. It blew me away, honestly. Like, I still love the banking system. I think it was a little OP, but on the Black Ops 2 engine, I feel like it was fair. I feel like it was fair. Even though the arguably the best two maps on that map didn't have the bank system. Transit's biggest problem was just that it was too innovative for the time that it came out, or at least for the technology it was coming out on. The big problems with Transit were things that the developers at Treyarch, they didn't necessarily want to put them in the map, but they had to slow the player down, because the PS3, just the engine that they were building this off of, couldn't handle rendering in that much map all at once. So that was a huge handicap to Transit. Also, I don't know why they made Pack Punch the way they did. It was so stupid. I feel like 90% of the time, after placing the electrical guy mannequin thing, it would always be broken by a zombie before I could get back to town to actually get into the bank to open Pack-a-Punch. Sorry if you can hear that. My cat is currently having a sneeze attack. He's been sick for a little bit. But anyway, on to the next map. We're going on to Ancient Evil. I'm gonna try not to blow on the mic, but I mean, oh, Ancient Evil, you were a good map. You were a good map. But at the same time, you are a very forgettable map. A very forgettable map. You couldn't outshine 9, which was a tall order, to be fair. But I think the biggest handicap, in my opinion, to this map was, again, the Treyarch feeling the need to have 4 wonder weapons in a map. Like, maybe it's just because I grew up in the BO1 and BO2 days, but I don't feel like 4 wonder weapons should be on every map. I feel like it should be a rare occurrence at best, because it becomes too much when every single map has its own, like, 4 wonder weapons with 4 completely different, like, it takes away from what made certain maps special, like Origins, the first map to have that 4-person wonder weapon, then getting it 3 maps later with the Reisendrache. Um, it's just it it overplays itself if you do it too much, and I feel like Ancient Evil was them kind of pushing it there, because you got to think there were also the non-Treyarch games that were coming out that were doing that same thing. Um, Ancient Evil, like the story, and I really love the cinematics on this map. The cinematics are phenomenal, but I can't bring myself to rank it any higher. So for the next map, we have Ascension from BO1. Ascension is a really good map. First map with an Easter egg on it, albeit the reward back then was nothing to brag about. But this map definitely changed high rounds in zombies for sure. You can't deny it. You cannot deny it. Every person that got this map was able to easily hit round 50. Even the garbage players, the absolute dog water Mr. Smiths out there, like the Smith plays, even the Dalek JDs would get caught up on Ascension. But I've never personally seen Mr. T-Lexify caught up on Ascension. He never gets caught lacking there. But I'm gonna have to give Ascension. I want to give it A tier because it is one of my favorite maps personally, but I have to give it A tier for being the first map that the developers put a start to finish full, like, through map progression Easter egg. And that was a huge leap for Treyarch and for zombies as a game mode in and of itself. I think this is where we started to really get a story, while it was mostly about Groff. I think Groff, yeah. Well, it was about Groff. It was still the formation of the Ultimus crew story that we, through Black Ops 1, got to see. And for that reason, I'm going to give Ascension A tier. Blood of the Dead. Okay, I know. I know you guys don't like Blood of the Dead. Me personally, I curse the Black Ops 4 engine. I think that was the biggest curse on Blood of the Dead. Besides the just sheer amount that has to be done on the Easter egg. Like, the Easter egg on this map is insane. Sorry, give me 1 sec. The Easter egg on Blood of the Dead is a rough one if you have personally had to deal with it, let alone if you've had to deal with it when the game came out, because good lord, you could not get a solid game to save your life. I genuinely love the map Blood of the Dead. I am pretty sure one of the highest rounds I've ever gotten was on Blood of the Dead. But that's just because the Magmagat, super OP, super good wonder weapon. I'm gonna have to give Blood of the Dead C tier. I can't give it more than that. Blood of the Dead was cursed all around just by what was going on financial wise with Treyarch at the time. They had a lot of money that had to be put into the Blackout game mode, which took a lot of money out of the Zombies team's budget. And Blundell was under a lot of heat at the time. Understandable. Well, not like understandably. I feel like not that he bit off more than he could chew. Blundell is a very, very smart storyteller. it was a lot with the fact that you have to take into account Fortnite was out at the time, which meant Fortnite was in its height of popularity at the time. Battle Royale game modes were becoming necessary. Blackout was the beta for what would become Warzone, and because of that, Black Ops 4 as a game in general got hindered. It got severely hindered, and that's kind of why all of Black Ops 4 ended up the way it did. But we're going to go on to the next map, which is Buried. Probably the best Victus crew map. At least widely considered the best Victus crew map. I personally wouldn't say it's my favorite, but for Buried, I'm gonna see. The thing is, the Easter egg on Buried was really good, especially like the sharpshooter step. Like, I don't know, I have so many good memories doing the Easter egg, doing high rounds on this map. Even grief mode on this map. I feel like people don't talk about grief mode enough, but playing online with my buddies on grief mode on Buried was super fun. It was easily the best grief mode in the game. I think I'm gonna have to put Buried above Der Eisendrache for me. It's from the witches to the paralyzer to the revolution 9 or 8, whatever the revolution revolver was. I can't remember exactly what the year on that was, but I can't put it in A tier. I will put it in B tier. Now that I'm thinking about it, though, I have to. You know what? Never mind. I was gonna move Garod Crovey up to S tier, but I feel very solid with it being put in A, because again, this is my list, my opinions. Opinions differ. So I'm gonna do something here, and I will talk after. Give my reasoning after. All right. See this map right here? If it doesn't go here, on anyone's list, they're wrong, right? You see, Call of the Dead was, I would say, one of the bigger leaps as far as setting for zombies maps, and the introduction of having a famous cast as the four player crew. Without Call of the Dead, we wouldn't have our Mob of the Dead. We wouldn't have our Shadows of Evil. We wouldn't have these star cast maps. I don't think, if Call of the Dead didn't come out when it did. Coming off of the Ascension, the First Strike DLC for Black Ops 1, there was a lot of hype in the zombies community. Things were looking really up for the direction of zombies, so people really wanted to get a look at the new map. And when they saw it, they saw George Romero, the GOAT of zombies as a genre, followed by Machete himself, SMG, Sarah Michelle Gellar. You've got Michael Rooker. You've got that played Freddy Krueger. What is it? Robert Englund or something like that. This is a genuine star cast, and you would see that follow in Mob of the Dead and in Shadows of Evil, even in leading on into Dead of the Night. Forgot to mention that one. Now, you could say 5 did this, but I personally wouldn't say 5 did this. 5 did it differently. It used very well-known governmental officials, I think. Fuck, I hope that's not too bad. I'm gonna have to check. But I digress. Going on to Darius. Actually, you know what? No. I want to back it up a minute. I want to solidify why Call of the Dead is S here. All right. If you know anything about high round zombies, you know that this is the accursed map. All right. The world record on this has been below 100 forever. I think it recently did get pushed past 100, and the reason for that, right, is because it takes so long to kill the zombies with such a short reset on the map timer. It's not a super short reset timer on the map, but it is relative to other maps. And that coupled with the scavenger not doing a ton of damage, and your only other weapons of choice being the ray gun, which is, it's not the same type of map as like Town is, where it's super tight knit, which means you can, run through the boxes really quickly. This is a very big open map, so ray gun is not nearly as effective as it is on maps like Town, where you can push to 100 with that. So what they did is they found out that they actually had to leave their PC on pause for like 27 days without doing anything, and it just resets the timer for them. And I think they were able to get an extra like 20 rounds last I heard. I don't know. I used to go into Oxygen. If y'all know Oxygen in the community, he held the world record for a while, for a long time. I believe he, last I saw, was one of the people that figured this out and had been pushing it. And that makes this zombies map very rare, because it isn't by any means a difficult map. There's just a drop off between 40 and 50 that is insane. The drop off hits, and it hits harder than I think it does on any other zombies map. Alright, we got another big map. Another big map. Darius. Alright. The question is Darius a bigger S tier? You see, I want to put Darius as an S tier. You know what? No, Darius is an S tier map. I can hop on Darius any day of the week on any of the modes, preferably not the World at War mode, but I will play it. I'll have fun with it. There's really not much to say about Darius besides, the leaps that this map made and the stepping stones that it set forth for all of zombies. This coming up with the idea of the teleporters in Darius, and the big one obviously being Pack-a-Punch, elevated where you could go at the time, because I've been with the zombies community since World at War. Verrucht actually was the first zombies map I ever played, and with Darius coming out, you saw this major shift. Shino Numa gave you trainings. Training was born on Shino Numa, People were just bunkering down and with an LMG, on Noct and on Verrucht, setting up bouncing Bettys, as many as they can, sticking to a corner, living as long as they could. But Shino Numa brought in training, and Darius brought in the ability to train and continue to kill them. Next map, Dive. So I'm Johnny, I don't want to upset you. I don't want to, but I've played it And it's just like, it pains me to play it. It pains me to play it. I'm gonna have to give it D tier. I feel like F tier is a little too rude for Die Rise. You know, it it was an idea. It was a slap in the face. It was a middle finger at the end of a rainy day. But over time, it became less of a slap in the face and less of a middle finger at the end of a rainy day. But not by much. Okay, Die Rise is faulted by Jimmy Zielinski, alright? He was adamant about the gameplay that he wanted for this section of Call of Duty Zombies, but it was not working. Sorry about that. It implemented probably the best wonder weapon to date, which is pre-patch Sliquifire. And the high rounders. Me personally, as someone who was in the high round community, I loved running trains on Die Rise. It was fun. It was easy. You didn't have to train. If you wanted to just go sit in the elevator shaft, you can just go sit in the elevator shaft and just click the button once around. Like, it was super easy. But then after they nerfed it, it became much, much more challenging. But the world record, I think not too long ago, was actually broken. Pushed it by like 1 or 2 more rounds. But we are going into a controversial pick of mine. I am going to put Dead of the Night into F tier. I wish there was kind of this gray area I could put, because Dead of the Night is the one and only, besides Vanguard, Treyarch Zombies map that I have not refused to play. I have played it. There's a lot, and at the time, I was angry at the BO4 system, the perk system, the whole system, the gaming mechanics. I hated it. I still enjoyed a lot of the maps on BO4. Dead of the Night, though, was, its own beast. There were so many parts to it, and to be honest, I can't give a fair opinion on Dead of the Night because I haven't taken the time to truly learn it. That could be a video for the future possibly, but as of right now, I'm going to leave it in F tier, but just know that is not my personal rating on it. I just don't have enough experience on the map to really give my own 2 cents on it. But next up on the list, we have the map 5. 555. I want to. Oh, I'm gonna have to give it B tier. I'm gonna have to give it C tier, actually. I think I'm gonna have to go C tier. And the main reason for giving 5 C tier is the Winter's Owl. It was an amazing map idea. I love the idea of being in the Pentagon, playing as JFK, Fidel Castro, the other guys. I can't remember their name right now. Nixon, I know, is one of them. Whatever the other guy was, I can't remember though. Um, Sick map for high rounds, super fun. It's super exhilarating. If you've ever gone for a high round on 5 and you've done the top room or the spawn room strat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Running around with the crossbow, it is intense. You are always on your toes, but it is very fun. But if you are not a high round player, this map is unforgiving. Tight corridors. Um, you still have the Nova crawlers on 5. It is brutal. If you, for one, are not have not refined your training skills, because there are a few training spots on this map for sure, but they are tight. So you have to have that zombie training refined down to essentially an art form. Especially once you get past, around 100 on 5. Next up, we have 9. 9, I'm going to be putting in A tier. Actually, I may put it in S tier. It was a phenomenal map. I would say the perfect start to the Chaos story. I feel, as you will see coming up, that Voyage of Despair, in my opinion, was an unnecessary map. I feel like I could have used a little more mystery, a little more unknowing that we were left with in the beginning intro to 9. I feel like what they should have done was have 9 and Ancient Evil along with Blood of the Dead, rather than Voyage of Despair, as the whole community knows. But this is not about Voyage of Despair right now. This is about 9 and the strong suits it had. It was fun, and it worked with the BO4 mechanics perfectly. That was the big thing about 9, was you could tell that the BO4 gameplay was made around this map. And it really shows when you're playing this versus when you're playing Blood of the Dead. You see that key distinction. The Scorpion on this map, the training, I loved the challenges in the spawn room. The spawn room itself was like nothing we had ever seen before in Zombies, and I personally still feel like we haven't seen it since in Zombies, and I would love to see something like that again. I feel like that was a very, very good idea for the spawn room. I think I'm gonna give it. I think I'm gonna have to give it A tier. Yeah, we're gonna go with A tier, but it's gonna be above Ascension and below Garrod, because again, the impact Garrod had. Shoot, dang. I might put Garrod up here between. I like that. I like that. Actually, I feel like this is what I was talking about earlier. I was gonna change Garrod up to S tier, but I was kind of second guessing myself. I feel like Garrod in S tier is very valid, again, with the points I said earlier in the video about the impact with where the community was at the point of its release. Kino der Toten, I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna say it now. Say it loud and proud. Overrated map. I understand. I grew up not very financially enriched. So when I had Call of Duty Black Ops 1, I played Kino der Toten, and that was about it for about 2 years, and then Black Ops 2 came out. And then when Black Ops 2 came out, I was able to finally, squeeze that $15 every once in a while out of my mom for the DLCs, because I was getting older. But throughout the life cycle of BO1, all I had was Kino der Toten, Dead Ops Arcade, and 5. I obviously watched, the YouTubers, the big ones like Syndicate, which, I obviously regret. But around this time, I was also watching a YouTuber that goes by the name of Laggin24X. I feel like in the community, he doesn't get um, enough talk in general. You know, I know his channel his channel isn't dead. I still watch him to this day. He's still one of my favorite YouTubers. I just enjoy chilling watching one of his videos. Um, I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, oh yeah, with YouTubers such as Laggin24X at the time, leading into the release of Black Ops 2. Again, I would say this is around the time I started watching Mr. T Lexify, and again, I still love watching Mr. T Lexify streams. Whenever I get the chance, I don't know if he'll ever. Fucking cats. I don't know if he'll ever react to this, but if he does, hey, I'll give you a smooch sometime. I'm just playing, dude. Don't even worry about it. I got my socks on. Don't even fret, dude. All right. Next up on the list, we have Moon. Moon. Ooh, Moon. You see, my problem with Moon is whether we're going off of the Black Ops 1 Moon or if we're going off of the Black Ops 3 Moon. Because I would say the one map that transferred into Call of Duty, or like Zombies Chronicles, was Moon. I feel like Moon had everything fixed in it that I felt was wrong with it in BO3. And being put onto the BO3 system. So, if we are putting Black Ops 3 Moon into account, I would have to put it smack dab in the middle of B tier. Mob of the Dead. I mean, I feel like we all know where Mob of the Dead goes. And, you know, I'm going to do a little revision here of what I've currently got on the board. I think I'm going to be bumping Derice down below 9, above Ascension. I feel like that is the correct move here before putting Mob of the Dead here, and I'm gonna put Grod Crovey over Call of the Dead. We all know why Mob of the Dead is a fantastic map. Sorry about that. I mean, we all know why Mob of the Dead is a fantastic map. Its story, its characters, the atmosphere, the ambiance that is created in a simple playthrough of the map. You know, this isn't something that, you know, you have to play the map 16 times to start to pick up. No, the moment you're put into the map, you get that sense of dread. You get that eerie sense of solaceness, and the way it portrays that is so effective that I'm gonna have to put Mob of the Dead currently at the tippy top of the list. But next up we have Knock Daron Toten. Knock Daron Toten, I don't have much to say about you, to be honest. C tier, probably. Honestly, D tier. I mean, it's alright. Like, that's about the best I could say, to be honest with you. Like, you know, solid foundation for the series for sure. seen it in, I think, every Call of Duty Zombies game that has been released. Let me think. Besides BO4? Besides BO4, Noct has been in every Treyarch Zombies game, not counting Vanguard. Um, that's insane. That's insane. But I understand it's because they're always paying homage to their roots, the very first map that the original team had as their little side project, you know. It's a very solid map, very solid foundation for the game mode that they've come to create. And it truly was the biggest stepping stones to what we have to date. Again, not much really to be said about Noct. We all know it. We've all played it 1.5 million times. Again, not much to say. I prefer the World at War version, or the Black Ops 1 version, over the BO3 version. I still liked that you couldn't get any perks besides Mule Kick on the BO1 version, and going for high rounds on that version was super difficult and very tedious when it came to hitting the box just to get the Thunder Gun. And going through the rotations, just farming points with the Thompson so that you can hit the box to get the Thunder Gun, blow through the Thunder Gun like 15 minutes, then for the next 20 minutes, make money with the Thompson so you can keep spinning the box till you get the Thunder Gun. It's super repetitive, but it's fun. It's fun. But super bland map, I can't put it higher than D tier. I just can't bring myself to do it. Next up we have Origins. Now, the thing about Origins, right, is to me, it's one of the biggest masterpieces that I think Blundell was able to pump out in his time at Treyarch. You know, Origins, when it released, was such a weird, different experience from what we were used to in Zombies, and it was this bright, shining beacon of what was to come, and you could just tell that the storm was brewing with this map, and it paved the way for Black Ops 3 to be the game it was, and we wouldn't have the BO3 we had without Origins. You know, Origins implemented the idea of having the 4 wonder weapons, letting every player in the map have their own wonder weapon, have their own journey that they had to go through with that weapon to get it upgraded. It's all across the board, for me, a near perfect Zombies experience. I personally have to put Origins above Mob of the Dead. It is just probably the most revolutionary Zombies map to have come out. I'm not going to definitively say it was. I'd have to, you know, kind of contemplate with myself on that specifically. But we are going to go ahead and go right into the next map, which is Revelations. Revelations. You're going straight into C tier. Alright, listen up. Listen up, Revelations, okay? Your Easter egg. Come here. Your Easter egg was kind of dog shit. Kind of. Like, you know, it's fun. It's fun, and you know, the map's fun, but at no point am I really just, sitting there in the mood to play some zombies? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna run some Revelations. The only time I'm doing that is like, man, I want to get to like round 100, but I want to do it in like an hour and a half. Like, that's the only time I could really think that Revelations would pop into my mind as a map I actively want to play. In my opinion, it was the weakest of all the BO3 maps. As a finale map, it to me didn't have this feeling of finale, and I feel like it's because Treyarch left it kind of open for Black Ops 4 zombies, and again, Black Ops 4 zombies got hit the way it did because of Blackout, and I think, it's to be honest a very polar opposite to Origins. It was the storm cloud coming in. What did we get in this map? We got nothing but reskins, different things that we've already seen just kind of slapped back into there. What did we get with BO4? Well, we got a bunch of things that we've seen before, besides the Chaos Story. Again, I'm a fan of the Chaos Story. Again, forget about Dead of the Night, but, it showed that in a way, innovations were not going to be made in this next title. Or at least it showed warning signs of it. Not guaranteeing it, because, again, Chaos was a good story. Like, it was. And I'm still kind of pissed off that, like, a lot of people didn't gravitate towards it. The big thing about what they were trying to do there was separate from the original story and how convoluted it was getting, but people just didn't want that, and understandable, to each their own. I know I kind of got sidetracked there, but Revelations, I can't put it higher than C tier. I feel like C tier is honestly being generous to Revelations. Next map, we have Shangri-La. Now, Shangri-La. It's a difficult map. It's a very difficult map. But it's one of those maps where when you're playing with a team, it is a fun map. The Easter egg with Brock and Gary on this map is so fun. It's very enjoyable. But in solo play, unless you're playing on BO3, it is very challenging. And in my experience, it's very unrewarding. I don't know. I never feel like I finish a Shangri-La game feeling like, oh yeah, that was the one. I feel great. I feel great after that game. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't feel it with Shangri-La. In my opinion, definitely the weakest of the BO1 maps. But is it weaker than 5? That's the question. I think it's stronger than 5, weaker than Blood of the Dead. I feel like that's a good spot to keep that in. But maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, I think 5 should be here in Ancient. I'm sticking with my guns on Ancient Evil as D tier. I just wasn't a fan of the map. I can't sway my opinion because some people like the map. I'm not a fan of it. D tier map. And yes, I'd rather play 5 than Ancient Evil. But next up, we have Shino Numa, the map that invented training with zombies. I think It is a very solid C tier map. I would not. You know what? No, I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it at. I'm gonna put it at C tier. Yeah, I'm gonna be putting it at C tier. Below Revelations. C tier below Revelations. It's another classic map. It's got, McCain hanging up in the spawn room. It's got the randomized perks in all the 4 different locations. It's what introduced us to Hellhounds. The first real wonder weapon besides the ray gun, being the Wunderwaffe, or as our American Tank Dempsey would say, the Wonder Waffle. A lot of implementations into Shinonuma, but my big problem with Shinonuma is it feels like a very unfinished, unpolished map. I've always felt like it's missing something, and I've never fully been able to point out what it was. But I did want to mention in this section about Shinonuma. I wanted to kind of at least, pay a slight tribute to a YouTuber who hasn't been with us for a while now. That went by the name of Yodi Slayer, and when this map came out, I was introduced to one of his videos, and I watched him for years, all the way till the end of Black Ops 2, and it's actually really funny. He only lived like 20 miles away from me or something like that. It's like he lived super close. It's really sad. I'm not gonna go into it. If you really want to look into it, you can. I'd suggest checking out his content. I know all the profits from any of the views on the videos go straight to his family. At least that's last I heard a couple years ago. So if you guys want to stop by and check out some of his old videos, feel free to do so. Very, very sad, but I did want to give him that little shout out. I would say he was one of the pioneers for doing challenges on zombie maps, and just he was a pioneer in the commentating over zombies videos type of deal. He was a big pioneer in the zombies community, and I feel like he doesn't get mentioned as much as he should. In my opinion, I feel like the zombies community, kind of as a whole, has just kind of blacklisted talking about it, and that's not healthy. It's good to talk about that stuff, or at least that's my 2 cents on it. But time to get into Shadows of Evil. Shadows of Evil, Shadows of Evil, in my opinion, is the best map. It is the best map that Call of Duty has come out as a whole for zombies. And here's why. When you load into a Shadows of Evil game, the first thing you're greeted with, before the screen even fades from black, right? Jazz music. Very vibrant, 1920s-esque, maybe even 1930s. Liveliness to the city that you wake up in, and the whole atmosphere around it is very 1930s, 1920s gangster-esque, very Mob of the Dead-ish, which but taking different, Mob of the Dead was very dread, whereas this was very alive. Shadows of Evil Oh, I could just go on and on about Shadows of Evil, like especially the just background music. Oh my god. The Apothecon Servant, which to this day is the most powerful wonder weapon to ever come out, and probably will be the most powerful wonder weapon to ever come out in zombies, unless they come out with something insane. I wouldn't expect anything topping it, but Shadows of Evil, man. Shadows of Evil. It innovated. It expanded what I thought um, could be the the playthrough of a game, of a zombies match. It does suck that there isn't the ability to do a solo person Easter egg, and then you have to have 4 players um, to complete the Easter egg on SOE. That sucks, but at the same time, we dealt with it all of BO1. I don't mind. That is not a huge hindrance on the sheer beauty that this map is. Everything down to getting the eggs, so that you can get the swords. If you were around when BO3 first came out in the community, the Mr. T Lexify streams were fucking lit, dude. Oh my god, they were so fun. I still miss those days, but at the same time, not much has changed. His streams are still a vibe, still a vibe. He pretty much carried Z House. That is very hot take, personal take. Um, I don't know. I'm a big Mr. T Lexify fan, but Shadows of Evil, man, like there's just this atmosphere when you load in that I can't pinpoint, but it is perfect and it feels like a very well polished map. This map, you could tell, like, when they released it, it was because they knew that it was finished and it was ready to be released versus some other maps. But I digress. We are down to Verrucht now. Let's see here. Verrucht is fun. Verrucht is challenging. Sorry about that. I had to go run and use the restroom. Um, Where were we at? Okay, Verrucht. Verrucht is a... I have to put Verrucht above Shino Numa. I feel like, again, Shino Numa was very unfinished, and Verrucht, the... Oh, actually, for Verrucht, I may have to give it A tier for the atmosphere alone. This was, and still is, in my opinion, the scariest Zombies map to ever come out. Which is funny, with it being the second Zombies map to ever come out. It was constantly looming with the sense of dread, the sense of something bad had happened there. You could hear the screams from the dearly departed. It was just the epitome of dread in a map, and for that reason I'm going to be putting Verrucht in A tier. Voyage of Despair, F tier. We don't gotta talk about it. We do not have to talk about it. Listen, we don't gotta talk about it. You and me. We don't gotta talk about it, okay? I feel like we all know why it's there. Alright. We all know. Zetsubo no Shina. The final Zombies map, or, some people like to say, no Shima Flow. My fellow Josh A. Stans. But yeah, for Zetsubo, see, a lot of people hate the setup on Zetsubo, but I love it. I don't know why. I love it. I've loved Zetsubo since it came out. There's this overgrown feeling to it that's something like we haven't seen in any Zombies map. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of these places that we visit, obviously they seem abandoned, but they don't seem run down nearly as much as Zetsubo is. You can tell that it's just been overgrown, taken in by the landscape surrounding it, and it truly is one of the prettiest zombie maps. If you have your graphics set all the way up, everything set on max on Zetsubo, it is a beautiful map to play with. Just the sounds of the animals and all that at the start of every round, looming in the background, sounding like they're all around you, yet you can't see any of them. It is very good. I think I'm gonna have to put Zetsubo at A tier, underneath 9. I think that is going to do it for the tier list. I believe this is the only 100% correct tier list. I am confident that everyone else who has ever made a tier list is wrong. At least that's how I feel. I feel like this is the only true, accurate, and totally correct Treyarch Zombies tier list. Pre Cold War Zombies. This is all the way up to BO3. Forgot to say that at the beginning. I will do Cold War as a video all unto itself, because I have some opinions about Cold War that I know some other people do not. So I decided to, for the sake of everyone, not do Cold War on this list, because I would have hurt a lot of people's feelings by doing Cold War on this list. And I think that's going to do it for the video, guys. But if you did enjoy, please remember to go down underneath the description box, hit that subscribe, hit that like, post notifications if you want to. I'm not going to force y'all to do anything. Do whatever you want. Mr. T-Luxify, if you're watching this, watch out. I'm just playing. It's all just a joke. Please react to me, please.